boogity, 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 get up on your feet.
Hey, hello again, and welcome to another edition of the DW Show. Hey, got a question for you. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the race, or you want to talk about the fight? Race, fight, race, fight. Okay, you win. We'll talk about the fight. Hey, ORC, Richard Childress, you a little bit ticked at Kyle Busch after that truck race on Saturday. And let's set this up, okay? This has been building. I don't know what's going on with Childress and the Gibbs drivers. I'm sure it's not Childress and the coach. It's Childress and the Gibbs drivers. But this has been building. And I guess I was told that after the incident at Darlington, where Kyle took out Kevin, and they ended up, on pit road discussing it, that Childress went over after it was all said and done and told Kyle, you touch one more piece of my equipment, I'm coming after you. Childress is not a guy that he doesn't sugarcoat things, and if he says to me, and I know him very well, I've known him for 30 years, I'm coming after you, I would probably not forget about that. So when the race is over with Saturday at Kansas, Kyle and Joey Coulter's driving one of Childress's trucks. Coulter got by Kyle with a couple laps to go for 5th place. And I didn't see he did anything wrong. He kind of did a slide job on Kyle and, took the line away and was able to beat Kyle. When the race is over with, Kyle decided he didn't like that, and he went up and just raked the whole right side of Coulter's truck out. That's Richard Childress's truck. Maybe Kyle didn't know that. Maybe he thought that was Joey Coulter's truck. But whatever it was, he shouldn't have done it. So apparently that riled RC up, and when Kyle came out of the garage after the race, RC was waiting for him. RC didn't say a word. He just grabbed him in a headlock and started pounding him on the head. That probably wasn't the best place to hit Kyle Busch, in the head. That's probably a pretty hard area, I would assume. But nonetheless, and a scuffle ensued, and Kyle finally got loose, and he ran away. He took off. I guess NASCAR took exception to a car owner going after a driver. And I understand it. Look, folks, I'm old school, okay? That's how we settled things back in the day. You got a guy that you were not happy with, he wasn't happy, you mad or whatever, a little scuffle, a little fight, and it was settled. It was done, and nobody got involved, and NASCAR didn't have to make any big decision about what they're going to do about it. It was between the competitors. And that's where I have a little bit of a problem. Think about last year at Texas. Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton, they got in a push. Yeah, they got a little fight. Did they get fined? No. And we've seen other drivers. We saw at Darlington, Kyle and Kevin shoving and pushing and talking up in each other's face. Did they get fined? No, we didn't get fined. They got put on probation. But that maybe is a little bit different situation. Personally, two guys want to fight after a race is over with, down in outside the garage. I'm okay with it. Settle it. And that way, nobody else has to get involved. You didn't tear up any equipment. Well, Kyle did tear up the man's truck, and that's what he was ticked about. But let them guys settle it amongst themselves, for heaven's sake. And I don't see where NASCAR really needed to get involved in that. And to fine Childress $150,000, that's a big fine. I don't care what you say. Richard Childress might be a multi-billionaire. I don't know. But $150,000 is a lot of money for popping a guy in the head. I know it's image. I know NASCAR's got to control this sport. They can't let the nuts run the insane asylum. I understand all that. But that's a pretty strong fine. I don't condone fighting. I'm not promoting fighting. I'm not Don King. I'm just saying, let the boys settle it amongst themselves. Boys have at it. Well, have at it in the, when the race is over with. That's better than tearing up equipment on the racetrack. So, that's my take. You may not agree. You may think I'm taking up for Kyle. I'm not. Kyle's done a lot of things that, wrong, and he's been punished for most of them. Childress, on the other hand, I don't know that he's done anything all that wrong. There is a history here, though. Don't forget, like I said, between Kyle and Kevin. But NASCAR fined Childress's group pretty heavily last year after the New Hampshire race with Boyer's car. Don't forget about that. And of course, Kyle and Kevin are on probation, and so there's been this little volcano has kind of been building up, and she blew up on Saturday in Kansas, and I guess Childress will think twice before he goes after another driver. What if it's his own driver? What if he'd gone after Kevin or Kyle? I mean, Kevin or Burton or Boyer. That'd have been funny, wouldn't it? Find a guy for fighting with his own driver, car owner fighting with a driver. Anyway, that's enough. Let's talk about the race. The race was, look, I think you're going to eventually, I believe you're going to buy into these fuel mileage races. The reason people don't like fuel mileage races is because we don't have that many of them. You have one occasionally. And we've had a couple in a row here. It's drama, folks. Dadgum, man. You got to figure out, is he going to make it? Wringing her hands, crew chief pulling hair out. You know, hair on fire. Is he going to make it? I don't know. Save me some fuel. Whatever you can do, help me, help me, help me. And the driver's out there saying, you want me to slow down and go faster? That didn't work for me. I did think that what Brad Keselowski did to save fuel was brilliant. I've never seen that before. Did you see what, do you know what I'm talking about? Pushing in the clutch, letting the car coast into the corner. You know, I was saying all along, how do you save fuel? Well, you back off early and you coast into the corner. And, you know, we've seen guys cut their engine off. When I said back off the throttle and coast into the corner, I didn't mean kick the thing out of gear or push the clutch in and let the car roll in there. I just meant back out early and let it roll down in there. Man, I've drawn off in the corner before. Cars jumped out of gear and scared me to death. Lose control, about wreck, because that wasn't expected. But this was so orchestrated. This kid really had thought about it. You know, when you said, let it coast into the corner, he said, well, how am I going to do that? I guess I have to push the clutch in. And he did. He was able to save enough fuel to win the race. It was brilliant. Now he's mad because we all saw it on TV and other drivers will do it. But nonetheless, it got him that win. And it may get him some more. And who knows, it may help some other drivers down the road as well as these fuel mileage things unfold. But I think you see the drama. If you can just think about it, all the things that go into who's going to make it, who isn't. I think it really makes an exciting ending to a race, and that's what we had on Sunday. As Fox's first time to be at Kansas, thought it was a great race, loved the track, loved the facility. Can't wait to go back there again next year. Speaking of race, how about Trevor Bayne? Our little buddy. Laid out of the car there for about a month and a half, and was able to get back in at Chicago. Thought he was going to win the race. Allgaier and Carl ran each other out of gas. They Allgaier out-coasted Carl to the start-finish line to win for a nationwide regular, which was kind of cool. But boy, old Trevor was back there in third and had a shot at it. So it was good to see him come back. He's feeling okay. He's back healthy. We're going to hear a lot more about Trevor Bayne. There's a discussion about the 6th car for next year. David Reagan is kind of on the hot seat. Love the kid to death. Just had some bad luck. You got 2 guys over here in the Nationwide Series that got a lot of talent. Trevor Bayne and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Those 2 guys are Cup. I think they're Cup ready. I think you can move them up, and they both will do fine. We've already, what am I saying? Trevor's already won the Daytona 500, and he'll do fine. I think Stenhouse ran Charlotte, finished 11th. Those 2 guys got a lot of talent. David Reagan is probably wondering, you know, am I going to lose my job to one of them? We don't know that. That's something we'll find out down the road. Maybe Jack will run a satellite car somewhere. And the one other thing I want to talk about today is when the season started. I hate to do this because I don't like to say I told you so, but daggone it, I told you so. The new point system, the way it's structured. Okay, so everybody looked at it and said, oh, it's just simpler. Big whoop. That doesn't really change anything. What we didn't really look at and what we didn't think about and what's really making a difference this year are those 2 wild cards. The guys that are not in the top 10 in points but have wins. That's really a game changer. And it's changed the way these guys are racing. It's changed the way they think. You know, I said early in the year, I said, well, you win, you're in. And that's going to turn out to be true. Right? The wins are going to get a couple of guys into the chase that normally wouldn't make it. Right now, Jeff Gordon is the example. He has 1 win. he's 16th, 17th in the points, he would be in the chase right now. So everybody's looking at, and Keselowski got a shot at being in the chase now. If you can win some races, one, not a guarantee. Two, I'd feel pretty good if I had 2 wins and I wasn't in the top 10 in points when we get to Richmond. I think you can make the chase. So when you're in, the wild cards have changed the way people are looking at this whole season. Guys are racing harder. Crew chiefs are gambling more. They want to win races. If they win races, they know they'll automatically make the chase. And so when we started this season, I think we looked at the point system, so yeah, it's either 43 down the line. We overlooked those wild cards, and those were game changers.